In this video, I'm going to give you three recommendations, tips for upcoming college students. I know that pretty soon people are going to be starting their very first year, the freshman year of college, and I wanted to give some tips to those people who are starting or maybe are already in college. And I wanted to kind of pull off some things that I thought I could have improved, enhanced, or done better, and some of these might surprise you. So number one, I think the first big thing, and this one might surprise you, is that you should really embrace enjoying your time there through clubs and activities and things that you might like. Now, this may seem obvious. Maybe you've already told about clubs and activities. Maybe you've already joined a few. But I think this is something that, although I did embrace and I did join a lot, what usually happens with these things is they fizzle out through the year, or you keep putting it on your calendar, but by the end of the day, school, other responsibilities come in, and then you say, oh, I'm too busy, and you don't attend. Or maybe you attend the first one and then you just stop attending like most other people, and then if you ever attend in the second half of the year, there's like no one there. What I think is you need to find something that really has that sweet spot of constant attendees and interest, and you shouldn't really hold yourself back just based off your first impressions. I think I really kind of ruled out a lot of hobbies or clubs that I could have really learned a lot about and learned to enjoy. And I kind of a little bit regret not trying them out. Although I did try out quite a few. There's a very robust fencing club that I could have gone to, never went to. I always saw people do it, but time and all this other stuff, and at the time I wasn't really into fencing that much, but they had the gear and everything. And now, if I were to get that after college on my own, you have to pay a lot of money for that, but it was all free. It was all part of the program. You got the fencing gear and everything. Now, on the good side, one club that I did actually do a good job attending, at least for a while, was Ballroom Dance Club. So they took it very seriously though, and I did try it out, but I think I missed one lesson, and I already fell behind so much based off that. And so it was very complex, and because of how fast they were moving every week, I just got discouraged after I fell behind after missing a week. And so, because of the fast pace and everything, I unfortunately couldn't keep up. But I held in there for a good 4 or 5 weeks, and it was quite the spectacle. Later on in the year, I saw the ones who stuck through it have this big competition where they were all dressed up, guy and girl, and they would go onto the dance floor. And it was quite the spectacle, quite interesting. I never really had enough passion, but at least I tried it out and give it my all to an extent. And so you could tell some of the people there, they really loved it. They brought their shoes. There's this one guy there who was like older. He was an adult, but he clearly spent like his life doing it, or at least he really loved it. He had the professional shoes, and he would just come here and dance, and you could tell he just loved it. So at least try it out. Sometimes you may not find you don't love it as much as the other people, but at least you've got that experience under your belt. And I think it did help me later on when I started to learn other partner dances like salsa and bachata. But it's just something that you should try out, because you don't want to regret it. You don't want to be like me and be like, oh man, I wish I tried fencing, that looks really cool. Oh, now I can't. Or now if I were to start, I'm older and I don't have that head start anymore. Plus, it's expensive. Actually, I don't know how much fencing is, but it's probably not free as an adult, So keep that stuff in mind. Second thing is, don't just focus on the academics in school. Now, I have a lot of videos on improving your grades and performing well in school, but what about other things that you measure your happiness, your fulfillment, your success on? It's not just grades. In fact, in certain jobs and companies, they don't even look at your GPA. They want to see if you can or you have the potential to do the work. Can you program? Can you build this graphic design? And so grades are just one component of life. What else matters to you? And going along the theme of regret, I think one thing for me that I think I wish I could have leveraged more was study abroad. Now, I met someone, a really chill person, first year of college as a freshman, and he told me for like, I think the second quarter, he just straight up flew to Rome or Italy or somewhere and had a study abroad where he basically did a kind of study exchange and uh, studied the architecture of the area. It was really fun. He got a basic free trip out of it. And so I think the point is, for me at the time, I was so focused on school that although I had these robust travel study abroad opportunities, I was like, oh, that's just screwing around. I don't want to waste my time fooling around traveling when I could be getting ahead, putting in the work, taking real courses. But I think, I may have over concluded what I believed or assumed without really assessing the situation. A lot of study abroad programs, you can learn a lot through the culture, learning about different people and how they live, and actually, getting that language exchange and becoming a more cultured person with more empathy and different worldviews and experiences. Plus, you get all these instructions and education from a different place. I could have taken that chance. I didn't because I just concluded, oh, that's beneath me, and that was the wrong thing. Now, are some programs like that just programs to goof off and party? Maybe, but not all of them are. And just because some people will choose those to goof off doesn't mean that everyone did. The guy I was talking about, like, yeah, he had fun there, but he also learned a lot about sketching, architecture, and drawing and stuff like that, and that's useful as well. Some of the best architecture isn't always American. So you just got to keep that in mind. And it's also a theme about balance. So if you're on the other extreme and you're someone who's just parties a lot, drinks a lot, and screws around a lot, and doesn't focus on academics, maybe you have to balance in the other direction. It's about kind of balancing out what matters most to your overall long-term health, success, and wealth. And sometimes that means delaying gratification. And then I guess the third tip I have for you is make sure that you work on your social skills and collaborating with students. I got this tip from other professors as well, who gave tips to their students on studying and what they learned in their experience and their regrets and what they thought they could do better. And one of them, I still remember to this day, I think he was my genetics teacher. He said he regretted just going off into his own room and then sitting on a couch or beanbag and just studying all the time on his own. Now, that's definitely a tactic that you can do, but college is a time where you have more freedom. You don't have the pressure or rules or attendance of your parent by you. So you have that freedom, that autonomy to make your own way. And some of that means collaborating and developing your social skills. Part of that will help you later in life. And part of that means helping you now. Form study groups. Work on, helping each other, collaborating during school projects or in labs or in office hours with teachers. These are all things that I leverage that I saw a lot of students not leverage. I was always amazed where, the professor would offer a office hours to any students after class on a certain day, and although the lecture hall would be filled with 200 students, sometimes only 3 or 2 would show up. And I saw those as opportunities because, wow, now I just got free one-on-one additional tutoring time with the teacher, which is going to get me ahead. Now, that doesn't always happen. For certain classes, it was like, oh, I can't wait. I'm going to leverage the heck out of this. And then like 17 people show up and they're all like super like legit, and they want to ace this test too, and then you're like, oh, no advantage there. Like these people all these students are on it as well. But sometimes you just never know. I have gotten instances, plenty of them, where I did have that advantage. I was one of the few who who went to an office hours, especially when it was pouring rain. Like those were the times where I was proud of myself because I was the only one to go, and I knew the weather would deter others. And so those are the 3 tips. But I just kind of want to conclude with my overall thoughts and some bonus thoughts and tips. Um, think about it. Think about your journey. Think about what you want out of the college experience. Of course, you can have some fun, but obviously have a smart head about it. Don't drink too much. Don't get into drugs. Don't let it derail your future. For me, I was definitely more academic, so I obviously focused more on that. And that's, ask yourself, what is it that you really want out of college? Some of it is finding your passion. Some of it is performing well in school, but some of it is not all about performing well in school. Some of it's about forging potentially lifelong friendships. Other times it's just having good experiences. Maybe you join a fencing club. I joined a badminton club for a brief time and a few other clubs. And some of it's like forging and finding that new hobby that like really invigorates you. And it may seem obvious, it may seem natural, but it isn't, It isn't always, especially if you are a shy introvert. I had to kind of push myself to get out of my dorm because a lot of these things are optional. Even attending classes are optional, which means sometimes you need to push yourself a little bit because otherwise you can just stay in your dorm and just do nothing. Of course, also the other end of the extreme is, be careful, Not everyone is going to be nice. Some people are. Not everyone is going to have your best intentions in mind. Some of them just want you to, do drugs or whatnot. And you have to use your best judgment, choose the right friends. But overall, you have to use your common sense and get what you want out of that experience. I think there's a lot of different things that you can get out of the college experience. Don't just end up sitting in your dorm all day and then going to class on occasion, turning in homework assignments, and then just flipping on your laptop and playing video games all night. While that can be fun on its own, it's kind of a siloed experience, and that can have its own issues. Now, with college, there's so many variations of it and so many different ways that it could play out. Some people like going to sporting events. Some people like going to student activities, joining certain clubs, or just doing well in school. But this is your time, and best of luck. You don't have to figure out your passion on your first year. It's okay if you're testing and experimenting. Some people in life are still figuring it out at the age of 30 and 35. That doesn't mean take forever either, but keep it going. So thanks for watching. Hopefully it helped. Let me know if you want a part 2 or any specific subcategory around this topic that you might want a future video on. Leave a comment, subscribe, and let's have some engagement in the comments. Let me know what advice you have for the community from your own experience in college or from others you've heard. What have you heard as good advice? And we can potentially share that knowledge and help each other out. Leave a comment, let me know.